This is Hannah Neilman. She and her husband, Daniel, run Ballerina Farm, a place that looks like it stepped straight out of a storybook. On this farm, the Neilmans live a dreamy, old-timey lifestyle, wandering the property with their children in tow. Everything, from the farmhouse to the rolling fields, feels like it belongs in the 1800s, and honestly, the family fits right in with that vibe. Hannah shares this quaint farm life online, where she has amassed millions of followers. Her videos show the family living on what seems like a simple, modest homestead. You'll see Hannah spending her days baking rustic loaves of bread from scratch, hand-milking cows alongside her children, and tending to farm chores in that slow, idyllic way we associate with pastoral life. The overall message: we live on this old farm and we make the most of what we have. It's charming, no doubt, soft, romantic, and very Pinterest ready. You can almost hear the idyllic music playing in your head as they go about their daily routines, giving viewers the sense of stepping back in time to a slower, gentler world. But here's the catch. Hannah and Daniel aren't just running a humble little farm. They're billionaires. Daniel's father founded JetBlue Airlines, and Daniel is the heir to that empire. That little fact, you won't see it anywhere in their videos. It's as if their immense wealth doesn't exist. A conspicuous omission that makes their modest life all the more polished and curated. Now, I'm not saying the Neilmans are pretending to be poor in some malicious way, but they are clearly taking elements of poverty and turning them into an aesthetic, a carefully constructed fantasy version of hard farm life that bears little resemblance to reality. Let's be honest. Modern poverty isn't about kneading dough or milking cows. It's about systemic struggles, hunger, uncertainty, and the constant grind just to survive. And while the Neilmans' videos are cozy and charming, they're a far cry from the hardships most people face. This isn't a video about calling them out. They're far from the first wealthy people to romanticize hardship, and they won't be the last. What they're doing is part of a much larger phenomenon, a trend that's existed for centuries, but now has a megaphone thanks to social media, influencers, and celebrity culture. But why? Why has playing poor somehow become a status symbol in itself? Take a look back in history. Marie Antoinette, the last queen of France before the Revolution, was famously, absurdly wealthy. She lived a life of extreme luxury, surrounded by palaces, jewels, and endless indulgence. But in her backyard, she built something curious. The Hameau de la Reine, a miniature village designed to look like an ordinary peasant settlement. This little village came complete with farm animals, goats, cows, sheep, and 5 brand new cottages. One cottage was for the queen herself and her attendants, while the rest were for peasants who actually worked the farm. The whole setup was meant to mimic rustic, everyday life, minus the starvation, disease, and struggle that real peasants faced. Legend has it that when the pressures of royalty bored her, Marie Antoinette would dress in plain peasant clothes, milk cows, tend gardens, and play with the animals. After a few days of this pastoral role play, she'd return to her life of opulence. Historians debate how much of this is true, but the story persists, and its plausibility fits the image of an out-of-touch rich person indulging in fantasy hardship. Fast forward to today, and the parallels are striking. Wealthy people still play at hardship, whether for social media content, fashion, or just personal amusement. And while the context has changed, the dynamic, rich people performing struggle while insulated from real hardship, remains the same. Jump to the present day, and the trend is alive and well. Kim Kardashian recently posed for a photo shoot dressed as a milkmaid, echoing that same fantasy of rustic simplicity. Luxury brands take it further. Balenciaga sold shoes with holes in them for $2,000, and Urban Outfitters markets an upscale homeless aesthetic. The rich playing poor. Not new, not surprising, kinda dystopian. You also see it in the van life movement. Plenty of van lifers aren't rich, but it's no secret that many come from money. These high-end vans can cost over $100,000, giving their owners the aesthetics of freedom and simplicity without the actual struggle. When wealthy people do it, it's cool and aspirational. When people without money live this way, society judges them. This performative poverty isn't just quirky, it's revealing. It shows how wealth allows people to engage with struggle as a choice rather than a necessity. They can curate the hardships they present to the world while ignoring the real difficulties millions of people face every day. And here's what's fascinating. Calling out rich people for this behavior is easy, but boring. The real story is why they do it, and what it says about our culture, our values, and the way wealth signals power and status. At its core, wealth has always been about showing that you're exceptional, above the rules that govern everyone else. Look at my house, my car, my lifestyle. I am different because I am rich. That idea hasn't changed. But today, in a world obsessed with productivity, the ultimate flex isn't owning more. It's producing less. Spending all day baking a loaf of bread, tending a garden, or milking cows becomes a status symbol. In a culture that values constant output and measurable success, doing nothing or appearing to signals elite freedom. It's a way of saying, I don't have to work for survival. I can choose what struggles I face. Being disconnected from the constant noise of modern life is also a privilege. Endless streams of news, social media, and work obligations dominate most people's days. The wealthy can escape that reality. Take Ed Sheeran, who famously doesn't carry a phone. Sure, he's unplugged, but he has someone managing all communication for him. True freedom, insulated from responsibility, has always been a hallmark of the rich. There's also a social aspect. By performing struggle, the wealthy seek acceptance and respect. Dressing as a milkmaid or living a simple life signals, I work hard, just like you. I earned my wealth. Kim Kardashian literally tells women to get your asses up and work, reinforcing the illusion that wealth always comes from effort and merit, not luck, inheritance, or systemic advantage. But here's the kicker. It's all misleading. This curated, performative struggle masks the reality of inequality, creating a false narrative that anyone who works hard can achieve the same results, while real poverty persists for millions. The problem is deeper than just being tone deaf. Dressing up as a poor person for content isn't just odd, it's ethically bankrupt. It misrepresents the struggles millions face every day. Real poverty isn't rustic bread or milking cows. It's hunger, disease, job insecurity, and systemic barriers. Romanticizing it turns suffering into entertainment, erasing the harsh realities of survival. When wealthy people make poverty look cute or aspirational, it shifts public perception. Struggle becomes a lifestyle choice instead of a systemic issue. It normalizes hardship and undermines the urgency to address inequality. People start thinking, maybe being poor isn't so bad. Maybe it's even kind of cool. Meanwhile, no one is tackling the structures that trap millions in cycles of poverty. This performative poverty also shifts blame from society to the individual. Millions of people work tirelessly and still remain poor. Yet wealthy influencers profit from the illusion that effort alone guarantees success. By portraying struggle as optional and stylish, the rich erase the reality that systemic inequities, not lack of effort, are what keeps so many people in poverty. In short, poverty is not a lifestyle choice. It's a human crisis. And by turning it into a trend or aesthetic, the wealthy are trivializing suffering, misinforming the public, and distracting from the real work needed to create change. The truth is simple. Humans shouldn't have to struggle just to exist. Poverty is not glamorous, and hardship should never be treated as entertainment. People deserve security, happiness, and the opportunity to thrive, not curated struggle content for Instagram or YouTube. When wealthy people romanticize poverty, it creates a dangerous narrative. It shifts responsibility from society to the individual, normalizes suffering, and diminishes urgency to fix systemic inequality. It tells millions of people, if you're poor, it's your fault. And if I'm rich, struggling for a day is cute. We have the resources and knowledge to reduce real-world suffering. Yet when performative poverty becomes a trend, it obscures those solutions. Poverty is not a necessity, and it shouldn't be treated as a lifestyle choice. So next time you scroll past a video of someone milking cows on a humble farm, or living the curated van life, remember, behind the aesthetics is a reality most people don't see. True hardship is not an aesthetic. People deserve better. People deserve to be happy.